Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it.
Good morning. Welcome to Undisputed. I'm Jenny Taft, and as always, joining me, Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning, guys. How are we doing?
I'm doing great. Okay, ready? You see what's going on, but I put that towel on, Skip. It's over.
Really?
Yeah, I got to deliver justice.
You're just playing for an elf.
Nah, I got to come with justice. You know?
Really?
Hey, the lawyer come to the courtroom with that towel on. You know what happened? Yeah, guilty.
All I can say is I cannot wait to talk about your man, Kendrick Perkins.
Oh, Perk.
Here we go.
We got some drama. We also have the latest with Dak's contract negotiations. Jay Glazer has some info. We'll get to it. But, guys, like you mentioned, we got some drama in the NBA. The online feud between Kendrick Perkins and Kevin Durant continued yesterday after Perk called Kyrie's push to cancel the rest of the NBA season a, quote, distraction, and later added that even calling Kyrie a bird brain would be giving him too much credit. This led KD to fire back and call Perkins a, quote, sellout in an Instagram comment. Shannon, what do you think KD means here?
Still, what he's saying is that Perk played in the NBA, so he kind of knows how the inner workings go. And now Perk is on the other side. He's in the media. Players that play with Perk or currently play and think that Perk should just be quiet, be vanilla, protect their interests, don't say anything negative. Perk, you know you're a player. So anybody that does what we do, that played the game, that's not complimentary, always they sell out. They don't know what they're talking about. You weren't that good. Well, what did you ever win? And that's what they always use. And if you notice, every time KD fires at Perk, he always takes a shot at him. Well, you only average 2 points and 3 rebounds as our center. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, it's abundantly clear.
A lot of air balls.
A lot of air balls. Mm-hmm. Kendrick Perkins was not, is not, will never be, will never has been the player that Kevin Durant or Kyrie or any other of the top players. Mm-hmm. But that's okay. That's not to diminish that he doesn't know what he's talking about. What they're upset about is that they're not denying that Kyrie said this. Mm-hmm. They're asking Perk, why are you putting this out there? Why are you putting this on blast? And Perk was like, Kyrie had no problem going back and playing. Now, this is what Perk is saying. He had no problem going back and playing as long as he was going to be allowed to go down in the bubble, sit on the bench, and cheer his teammates on. Mm-hmm. Once the NBA says, nah, you're not going to be able to do that, all of a sudden he didn't want to play and didn't want anyone else to play. Mm-hmm. So, and plus, Perk and KD kind of got a history going back, Skip. Perk said Russ is the best Oklahoma City Thunder player in history. He also said that KD took the coward's way out, going to link up with Golden State and winning titles that way. Mm-hmm. So they've kind of had a contentious adversarial relationship since that point. Perk doesn't back down. Perk is not going to back down. What I would advise, Skip, when I try to, talk about a player, I try to keep his intellect out of it. I know maybe Perk was just saying that in jest, that if Kyrie had a bird had Kyrie brains, it would fly backwards. Maybe I don't think Kyrie has a diminished capacity or anything like that. I just think he thinks outside of the box, and I think it's rubbing a lot of people the wrong way because some people do want to go back and play. And Skip, if you don't, and my thing has always been, if you don't want to go back and play, if you feel that the COVID is a concern of yours, you feel that your voice is going to be muted going back to the bubble with everything, the social injustice that's going on, don't go. But don't try to put the bosh on anybody else and try to speak bad of the NBA for them wanting to go back. So I just think that Kendrick and KD's protecting Kyrie, Skip. They're best friends. And so, I'm going to protect my best friend. I'm not going to let you take shots at him from a distance. Yep. I'm going to try to put the kibosh on that so it doesn't get too far out of hand. But this is going to continue to go on. Perk has a very strong opinion, and he's not going to back down from KD. KD understands that, but I think that's what's going on. That's what he means by selling out. Perk, you played. Now you in the media, now you giving up all the secrets. You know you're not supposed to do that.
There may be some of that going on, but I think it runs and cuts much deeper than you just suggested. I believe that Kevin Durant means that Kendrick Perkins sold Kevin out for LeBron James. That's what it's going down to. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. For 4 years in Oklahoma City, I'm going to remind everybody, Kendrick Perkins was Kevin Durant's enforcer. He was his bodyguard.
Right.
He was his personal protector. That relationship ran so deep that when Kevin did win the MVP in, 2014, he thanked Kendrick in his big MVP. It was the best speech Kevin's ever given. It was straight from the heart, made everybody cry, brought tears to Russell Westbrook's eyes. You remember that?
Yep.
And in that speech, he said of Kendrick Perkins, I hated you before you got here, because remember in Boston, he was seen as this sort of glowering, menacing enforcer type, right? This bully. And yet Kevin concluded, but the moment you got here, you changed my whole perception of you. That's over. That's finished. That's kaput.
He changed it again, huh?
He changed it radically, dramatically, upside down again, because now, in a little bit of a surprise, if not a shock to me, Kendrick Perkins has become LeBron's #1 PR man and #1 fan, super fan, on every TV show he does. He's done ours a few times. He does ESPN. It seems like he's everywhere. And all over social media. He does nothing but protect LeBron. And it's starting to come across to me as if Kendrick almost considers himself part of LeBron's inner circle. It's almost like there's Maverick Carter, and there's Rich Paul, and there's Randy Mims, and there's Perk. There's Kendrick Perkins, like he's the fourth horseman of the inner circle. And if I didn't know any better, because this has gotten so personal, it almost comes across like Perk is on LeBron's payroll. I'm not suggesting, but that's how it feels like LeBron actually directs him to say, oh, I need you to do that for me and that for me and that for me. The big picture is, you pointed out some of the things he's done. Remember, I've been the biggest proponent of Kevin Durant's the best player on the planet. A lot of people have thought that, and Kevin won back-to-back MVPs with big game threes in LeBron's house. But the point is that as the bandwagon started to roll for Kevin being the best player on the planet, all of a sudden, Kendrick is turning up the heat on Kevin, as you suggest, and now on Kevin's best friend, Kyrie. It almost felt like now that Kyrie has dared to sort of challenge LeBron's authority, challenge his preeminence as clearly the #1 activist in all of sports, by saying, hey, I'm going to lead a contingent of players, a coalition of players who shouldn't go to Orlando. And again, it's easy for Kyrie to do this because he's not going. And again, to Perk's point, they told him several weeks ago, you just can't go. It's too risky for you to go and just sit on the bench with your teammates. So he's out anyway. Kevin's obviously out anyway. But now Kyrie, on the conference call last Friday night to 100 players, not featuring LeBron James, he's trying to convince a horde of players to say, let's sit out. Let's boycott Orlando to make a statement by withholding what we do best, what people want us to do, which is provide them the entertainment of NBA basketball at a time they need it most. Let's withhold that just to make a statement. No. Right now, we remain focused, mind, body, soul, on campaigning for racial justice. So all of a sudden it put, as I told you 2 shows ago, it put LeBron in a little bit of an awkward position because he has been the #1 activist, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait, I do want to play. And obviously, I told you, I don't blame LeBron for wanting to play. He needs to go win another championship. His clock is ticking. He's at the end of year 17, and they should be the favorites to win this year's championship. And it could help him in his quest to overcome that ghost up in Chicago, the last dance ghost, Michael Jordan. So I'm not condemning LeBron for this, but all of a sudden, Kyrie sensed an opening where I can take over leadership in the NBA. And it felt like it was almost LeBron telling Kendrick, you got to go put him in his place. You got to go make him look. That's how it came across to me. And it's all about Kyrie being Kevin's best friend. And then all of a sudden we get the low blow of the bird brain quote that you repeat. I don't even want to repeat it. And then Kendrick Perkins went so far as to suggest that the murder of an 18-year-old African-American woman in LeBron's hometown of Akron that just happened, what are we up to, Thursday, 4 days ago, that it didn't get the national attention it deserved because Kyrie dominated that news cycle with being a distraction. He was the distractor in a way that he made everybody focus attention on a boycott of Orlando and the bubble when the country should have been talking about the woman who got murdered in Akron. Mm-hmm. Well, that's just preposterous to me. That's a stretch. That's a leap. Maybe that murder did deserve more attention than it got because I didn't hear a whole lot about it. I don't know the why of it yet. I don't know what happened. I don't know exactly how it transpired or what the motivation was behind it. So we don't know for sure yet. But to put that on Kyrie's head is just a low blow and out of bounds. But those are the links he seems to be going to discredit Kyrie Irving. And I don't understand it because I thought, because remember, Kendrick played 4 years with Kevin, and they went to 3 conference finals together, and Kendrick was a starter on that team, and they obviously won one of those 3, and then they played LeBron's Heat in the finals, and Kendrick played all those games. And by the way, Kevin was really good in those games, so it's not like he saw Kevin at his worst. Kevin played pretty well. He averaged 31 a game. Now, they were blown out in 5 games, but remember, they won game 1. Kevin scored 36 points. So what I'm saying is, it's not like Kendrick saw him at his worst or that he was the reason they lost. He wasn't the reason they lost that. Then he played a few games with LeBron, but only, I think it was a grand total of 17 games with LeBron.
Yeah, but you know the difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he's just sitting on the bench watching, and he decides, oh, this is the guy.
Oh, Skip, hold on. You can be married for 15 years and get divorced and be with another one and say, oh, that's the one. You don't need to be in that another 15 years. He didn't need to be with LeBron for 4 years like he was with KD. He knew after 17 games, that's the dog. That's him.
That's him.
Yeah.
Shannon, all of a sudden, it's LeBron is better than Jordan. We get that from Kendrick Perkins.
And
all of a sudden, now we're going to talk about this a little later, LeBron is the greatest athlete in the history of NBA basketball. I'm sorry, that's just wrong. And he's entitled to his opinion, but it's so over the top that after a while I'm saying, are you working for him? I don't know what's happened.
It's funny that if anybody compliments LeBron, they're on his payroll. How much would Jordan need to be making like $15 billion a year? Because he got so many people on his payroll, starting with you. Because you've been trumpeting, oh, Jordan is the this and that for 15 years since you've been on TV.
Yeah, I have, and I've been right.
No, you have not been right.
And once The Last Dance hit the airwaves, they came out of the woodwork to say, yep.
And how much Jordan pay for that?
I have no idea. But it won the battle. It was game over with LeBron. You know it, and I know it.
No.
So the point here is that I don't know what got into Perk, and it's almost like a perk of being this so-called king is having Perk, as in Perkins, as your personal protector. At every point, anybody dares to even begin to challenge LeBron, as Kyrie did, oh, he's a bird brain.
But the thing for me is that right now what's going on in America is like a kid, like Santa Claus. You give him a list of 50 things. And your parents say, well, wait a minute. Let's just narrow it down. Let's get to the biggest thing. What are the most important things? Well, you're putting up 50 things. They're not going to get the 50 things. Get to the 3 or 4 most important things that you want to see. The NBA sponsors, and yourself. What would you like to get fixed? You naming all these things. Well, we want the potholes on the south side of Chicago field. Come on, stop it now.
Okay.
Let's get to specifics of what we need. And their specifics is the police brutality, the killing of unarmed black men and women, the injustice, the systemic racism. Now, they keep the list getting longer and longer and longer. Come on, let's stay focused now. Let's not lose focus.
Okay, but is Kendrick saying that Kyrie is wrong, that the #1 priority of NBA players shouldn't be campaigning for racial justice?
No, that's not. I don't believe that's what Perk said. Now, I don't want to speak for Perk because Perk doesn't speak for me. I don't believe that. But the thing is that Kyrie never had these concerns until what Perk is saying. Kyrie had none of these concerns until the NBA told him he was not going to be allowed to be in the bubble. Then all of a sudden, these became of grave concerns to him. Not to say they weren't, but maybe he didn't voice them at the time. Okay, I got no problem with that, Skip. I got no problem. Kyrie says these are some concerns that we should have. Now, if the NBA says we can address those, we, along with some of our corporate sponsors, some of our teams, are willing to invest, are willing to help you go to Congress and get these things passed. Okay, then what, Skip? I don't understand. Okay, you withhold, they withhold. Now what?
Okay, but
They can outlast you, Skip, because they've been in power for so long. They're good with their billions. It's us that want the changes.
okay, I got that. But Avery Bradley has actually sort of usurped the power of Kyrie, not by choice. He just took over the coalition, and he has been much more specific in his quotes.
Yes.
And I think much more credible in his quotes because he has focused his goals on certain things like we need more African-American representation in decision-making jobs such as GM jobs. There are only 4 right now in the NBA who actually have final say over personnel moves. Well, that's not enough.
Right.
Out of the 30, 4 out of 30?
Right.
I mean, that's like NFL-ish, right?
Right.
Okay. So Avery said 2 days ago, and I love this, and I'm going to read it one more time because Kyrie wasn't able to put his words into an order that people could comprehend. He was just angry on the conference calls. We really haven't heard him do a media session.
Right.
Avery's done media sessions. And he said the actual act of sitting out doesn't directly fight systemic racism, but it does highlight the reality that without black athletes, the NBA wouldn't be what it is today. That's why Avery is saying maybe we should withhold. Maybe we shouldn't go.
Okay, you withhold. They say you're not going to play. We're not going to do anything. Now, who do you think calls get advanced more? They sitting on, now Steve Ballmer's sitting on $52 billion. They don't, the Clippers, the Knicks don't, the Clippers don't play. The least, I think Jordan is $9 billion. So if they don't play, and these big corporations and these wealthy, influential white men don't do a damn thing, who do you think wins, Skip?
Okay, but if you don't play, you attract way more. And again, I told you, I got mixed emotions. I do want them to play, but I'm just seeing their side of it. And their side is it would cause such a new firestorm of attention focused on the issue at hand that maybe if LeBron then would not play and get behind re-campaigning, again, he's got the voters' rights and the voter education that they put together, that sort of referendum and what is it? It's like a movement that they're doing.
They're trying to turn out voters.
Yes. Okay, I love that. But again, maybe there could be more work done, more accomplished if you didn't play because America would be in awe of this. They'd be like, what has happened? They're not going to play. Some people would be angry about it, but it would refocus the attention again. Until
you get influential people that can go in front of Congress that looks like them. Now, we can trot up all the black men. Skip, how many times did
I think LeBron qualifies as influential.
Skip, they had Dr. King speak in front of Congress.
Yep.
He went and met with LBJ. Until you get these...
You mean Lyndon Baines Johnson as opposed to...
Right. Not
LeBron James. Go ahead. Yeah.
My bad, you're right.
Okay.
Lyndon Baines Johnson, President Johnson.
Yes.
Skip, until you get those guys to sit across from Congress, Skip, that's how things get done.
I got it. But in his time, Dr. King wasn't respected enough. It took history, it took an assassination for people to say, wait a second.
Right.
For white America to say, wait a second. Oh, he had a point. It's like Muhammad Ali. Much of white America was some of black America was down on Muhammad Ali for being a draft dodger, right?
For Vietnam, yep, you're absolutely right.
Okay, it takes time for them to historically grow into stature of all-time impact.
Right.
Oh, Martin Luther King, my goodness, look what he did.
Right.
Well, we weren't saying that then.
Right. But the thing is, Skip, if you think about when all these, the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, the Fair Housing Act, all that stuff, Skip, we're still fighting for that today.
Okay, I got it. But to me, LeBron has more power right now than Dr. King had in 1965, 4-3-2, back into the early 60s.
Right.
He does.
Yeah. Well,
because of social media. And
he has a higher approval rating.
Well, he just does. He can impact more people than Dr. King could in his day. Maybe Dr. King posthumously has had more impact.
Yes.
I certainly, absolutely, but not right here, right now. So I also got to make this point about Kendrick Perkins. In all my years of covering sports, I've seen two dramatic transformations. One was George Foreman, because when he fought, and obviously he was that glowering, menacing, media-hating bully, right?
Yep.
And all of a sudden, he loses to Muhammad Ali. He gets humbled. He gets leveled down to nothing and has to sort of start his life over. And all of a sudden, he becomes a preacher man. Yeah. He becomes Mr. Personality. He becomes a jovial, gentle giant that America fell in love with. He sold grills. And then it happened with Kendrick. When Kendrick played, especially in Boston, well, heck, all the way through.
Right.
I mean, he was kind of a anti-media, distant, standoffish, arm's length, tough guy, kind of an ogre, sourpuss, you know, all of the above. And all of a sudden, he's Mr. Personality. He's all over the media. And I love him. And I like having him on the show. Yeah. He is fun. I never thought I'd put fun in the same sentence with Kendrick Perkins. So the transformation has been shocking to me. And now he's like a media magnet where he gets attention. And then he did tweet because he got Bill Russell. We're going to talk about this topic later. He got Bill Russell to tweet at him about greatest athlete. Yeah. This was aimed at, it was probably.
You know, Skip, you probably sitting around like, I got time. Oh,
what? What? So he gave
86 years old, retweet.
I know, retweet. But again, then Kendrick did kind of what I call a humble brag here, and he tweeted again, oh, Mr. Russell, oh, then I give up. I back off. You're the greatest. LeBron's not the greatest. Again, calling attention to the fact that Bill Russell recognized Kendrick Perkins. Well, it has come to that. He's got power. He's got clout.
Right.
He's got magnetism that he never had as a player. I didn't know he had that in him, but clearly he does. It's not fake. It's real. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, and I just think that the thing is, Skip, and I think, you know, Skip, you know how hard it is for athletes to do this job because they don't, especially when they just leave the game, they don't want to be critical. Now, the further they get away from the game, they didn't play with those guys, so they're more apt to be critical.
I understand that. I got it.
And that's what, but Perk came right up out the box. Like this, and this. And people like, whoa, wait a minute, Perk, you sell out? You get in the media and now all of a sudden you telling everything and you this and that. And I think the thing is, Skip, is that a lot of times, and Charles Barkley goes through this, when you are critical of a player and you didn't win a championship, they're like, well, you didn't win anything. And so that's what they use against Perk. Because Perk wasn't Shaq or Tim Duncan, they try to devalue what he's actually saying.
That's true, I agree.
He's making very valid points. Now, you might not like that he's giving away secrets, the recipe to the chicken, but you can't argue that he knows, and they're not debating, well, that's a lie. They want to know who, so now they're trying to go back through the Zoom call in the chat line.
On Kyrie.
To find out who's telling this.
Yeah.
No, Skip, when you think about it, Skip, you got 100 people on the call. If you get if you got 2 people, there's a chance that it's going to get out.
Heck yeah.
So imagine 50, 100.
Yeah. I mean, they're not going to be able to track this down.
No.
Well, so in the end, it has gotten personal, and I do believe part of that one word that Kevin used to put on Kendrick's head, which is sellout.
Right.
It's personal that he's selling out Kevin because Kevin's like, I thought we were close, man. I thought we were tight.
Right.
We played together.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's what Kevin, like, we got 4 years of history together, and I can't believe you would do this. Skip, you can say this, but I believe it goes back to when Kevin Durant, when Perk says KD was a coward and Russ is the best OKC.
Oh.
Man, how you gonna say that? And I'm supposed to be your boy. I mentioned you in my speech. Well, Perk said, I'm in there now. You can't go back there and erase it.
Yep. Well, all I know is LeBron's going to mention Kendrick Perkins in his Hall of Fame speech.
Go ahead.
Because he's helped put LeBron back on the map.
We already got 5 horsemen. They ain't got no room for those 6, Perk. Sorry, you late.
Well, you know, I forgot about this, but actually the 4th horseman has already been called for, right?
Now, they already got the 4 horsemen. I'm the 5th horseman.
You're the 5th, right.
LeBron, Mal, Randy, and Rich.
Okay. For sure Shannon's getting a mention. Come on. How about the backdrop when you were at home? How many jerseys do you have back there, Shannon? You're collecting everything. I'm surprised you haven't worn anything lately. It's been a while.
Goat Man coming out. You know Goat Man coming back, right?
Just waiting. No mercy. days after Roger Goodell encouraged teams to sign Colin Kaepernick, Chargers coach Anthony Lynn, said Cap would be a good fit for his offense and that it would be, quote, crazy not to have him on their workout list. Lynn later clarified that they haven't reached out or contacted him yet. So, Shannon, should the Chargers bring Cap in for a workout?
Well, Skip, anything that's related to Cap, this is not a normal situation. It's going all the way to the top. So this is going to stop on Dean Spanos' desk, who's the owner of the L.A. Chargers. Yeah. So you're going to have to clear that with him. This is not a GM. This is not a player personnel. This is not a head coaching decision. This is something that's going all the way to the top. And then you're going to run this by him, and then he's going to say either give you a thumb up or thumb down. Now, Mark Davis said that every coach that he's had since Kaepernick has been in this position, he says that you have my blessing. Now, I'm not surprised he would say that knowing that his father, because if his father was alive, he decided from the jump. You know, just to stick his thumb in the eye of the NFL.
I agree.
That's how his dad operates.
He might have signed him because he thought he could win with it.
Yes, but just because it's going to spite the NFL, he's going to take the antagonistic approach. So, but at the end of the day, Skip, now all the coaches, I know this one the best because I played with this one for a number of years. We won championships together. Yep. So I know this guy very well. Skip, I mean, hey, Lynn, I mean, you got a team. I mean, you could put him on your workout list. In 2017, 2018, 2019, you got a list. Put him on it. Now, it makes no sense to me, Skip. You just took a quarterback with the 6th pick in the draft. Now, everybody keep talking about, and this is another subject for another day, Skip. But hell, I take Cam over everybody on the roster right now at San Diego, at the Chargers, LA. I take Cam Newton over everybody on the roster right now.
I'd do it times 2.
Right now?
Yes.
Okay. But for this argument, Cap, and he said, well, I don't know where Cap is. I think the thing is, Skip, for anybody, if Cap think his representation is going to do all the talking, that they're going to talk, that owner or coach is going to talk to the owner without hearing Cap, sitting Cap, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen, Skip. That's not. So if he wants to be back in the league, he's going to have to say, you know what? I'm going to have to tell these people this is what I'm going to do. Yeah. I'm gonna still do social work, justice work. I'm gonna be a crusader, but I'm ready to play football also. But for me, leaving him off the workout roster, hell, Lynn, you got a workout roster. Put him on there. Bring him in. Simple. Now, it's obviously with the virus going on now, Skip, it complicated things. But there was no virus in 2019. No. There was no virus in 18 or 17. So there were ample opportunities for teams. Now, you can use this now, Skip. You notice 2020, with COVID, it messed up a lot of things and how we do business, and we couldn't get our hands, we couldn't touch the guy. There was no virus going around it for 3 years, and nobody touched it. So we're not going to let you use that now. If you want Cap in, you want to bring him in, reach out to his representative, bring him in, sit him down, talk football, not talk around it, because, Skip, we've heard this before. Did we be careful of this? We hear a lot of guys talking about, oh, he's talented. Oh, he can play in this league. He's taking a team. And ain't nobody bit. Ain't nobody bit the bullet and says, okay, we'll do this. Let's go do this. So until I look at his posturing, it's saying all the right thing. Yeah. But saying and doing is entirely two different things. I want to see somebody that's going to put action to those words.
Yep. So I hear you, and I agree with you times 10. I got to tell you, when I first read this, from the man you know well, Anthony Lynn, it just felt like the height of hypocrisy from him. For him to say, it's crazy that every other team hasn't brought him in for a workout. Well, wait a second. You've been there a couple of years. You had lots of chances.
You got a team?
And it came across, it smacked of one of only 3 African-American coaches in the whole league, in the National Football League, Anthony Lynn, almost having to say the right thing for the wrong reason, because he suddenly invented something called the workout list. Well, you played for a long time, 15 years, right?
14.
14 years. I've been covering since the middle 1970s this league. I have never in my life heard of a workout list. It felt like all of a sudden a designation got invented that you can use to placate the masses, now saying, Cap, justice should be served. And you can say, well, he's on 8 teams' workout list.
Right.
What? What's a workout list? I've never heard of one.
I guess it's the list, Skip, but if somebody goes down, this is the guy we like to work out, be it regardless of position.
Okay, but nobody's going to just bring him in to work him out for nothing.
Right.
And then Anthony Lynn classically talked out of both sides of his mouth. Oh, he'd be a perfect fit for what we're going to do, because if Tyrod, or he calls it Tyrod, I can't say that. It doesn't sound right to me, but whatever. I'm going to say Tyrod, forgive me. If Tyrod Taylor's going to be the starting quarterback, and I assume he'll start.
Right.
I don't think Justin Herbert will start.
No.
You're not a fan of Justin Herbert's. I'm definitely not a fan. I said a year ago, I'm just not sold.
No.
I just don't think he's going to be anybody's answer in this league, and they took him with the 6th overall pick.
Correct.
Well, remember, they had their sights going back a couple of months before the draft on Tom Brady. And they got left at that altar. It sounded like, by all that I read and all that I heard, they really thought they were right there to get Tom Brady, because going to the new SoFi Stadium and get the GOAT to put up on the marquee to sell the Chargers in that stadium at least for a year or two.
California boy won the state.
There you go. There you go. Okay, well, but it sounded right to me.
He's a Cali kid.
So, and I don't blame him for that.
Right.
But once that fell through at the last second, once he chose Tampa Bay, once that happened, well, easily you could have said, let's bring in Colin Kaepernick to compete with Tyrod for the starting job.
Right.
And forget about the 6th pick. And you could go Isaiah Simmons there, or you could go defense. You could beef up what's already a very good defense.
Right.
You could go a different direction. You didn't have to take Justin Herbert and make him almost your immediate future within the next couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely.
And eliminate the whole possibility of Colin Kaepernick. Now, back to your point, I might have to give Anthony Lynn a little break here, because in the end, it's not his call.
No.
It's the owner. It's Dean Spanos.
Skip, this situation reminds me of like when President Obama was in office, is that he had to be very careful how he spoke and what he said. Because if you look at President Obama, and a lot of blacks will say, well, President Obama ain't do nothing for black people.
Yep.
He's like, well, I can't just be the president for black America. Well, we have one president where he's like, okay, my base, I'm just trying to appease my base. That wasn't how he operated. Well, A. Lynn's like, he's an African American. And then he can't just say, well, hey, come on, Cap. That's not his, like you said, that's not his call.
Yeah.
That's over his head.
Tom Telesco is the GM.
Right.
He would probably have more clout in this area than the head coach would.
I mean, do I believe A. Lynn could go to him and says, man, look, I want to work Cap out. We'd like to have a look at Cap. Well, he's going to have to run that up to Dean Spanos. He ain't just going to say, okay, sure, bring him in.
I actually hope he did.
Yeah.
And maybe it got shot down.
Right.
Maybe it's not the right time. But to your point, what changed over the last 2 years? Well, all of a sudden, because of a murder in Minneapolis, all of a sudden, Colin Kaepernick was vindicated.
Right.
And all of a sudden, America, it seemed like black, white, all colors of America finally said, wait a second, he was right.
Right.
And all of a sudden, it became fashionable to say Colin Kaepernick deserves a job in the National Football League. So now it's up to the NFL to try to placate the masses with something like a workout list.
But what I can't understand, Skip, is that how did a murder in Minneapolis on Memorial Day impact Cap's ability or inability to play? It's like now all of a sudden he can play.
Changed.
Nothing. He's still Cap. So if you don't believe he could play then, why do you believe he can play now? Because it's acceptable to kneel? Because of what's going on in America now?
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm seeing. I'm like, hold on, wait a minute.
It's like the door reopened.
Yes. I'm like, hold on. How did that impact his ability? So now all of a sudden he becomes a more accurate passer. Now he's better than what he was when you originally saw him 3 years ago.
Right.
I'm confused.
It took the commissioner on ESPN on Monday night on their SportsCenter special basically embracing the idea of Colin. He'd never even said his name publicly, and he said it several times on ESPN live, or I'm sure they taped the interview, but it aired live on Monday night, in which he's saying, love the idea, basically. I would encourage any of our clubs to sign him, but that's not my call because obviously he doesn't own a team.
Yes, exactly right. And even the president chimed in and said, yeah, I would like to see him get another chance, but no kneeling.
Nope, I got you. So in the end, they go Justin Herbert, who we don't love, and then they have a kid named Easton Stick from North Dakota State, another one of those. That's a quarterback factor. Yeah. They got another kid coming up in this next draft who could be the first overall pick. So they're just loaded with quarterbacks.
That's what they do. That's their factor right there.
Yeah.
Or walk it to him.
Well, he was a little overrated.
No, don't walk it to him.
But So their third quarterback, they took in the 5th round 2 years ago.
Correct.
And they're sticking with Easton Stick as their third string. Okay? Colin Kaepernick, Easton Stick. I don't know. Do I want to see Colin be the third string quarterback?
No,
I
that's not
don't.
gonna happen.
Now it's a bad spot for him because they have to go. They just paid too much money to Justin Herbert.
First of all, Skip, the rosters are too small. You got 46 guys. Skip, the likelihood of you keeping a veteran third-string quarterback, Skip, because the roster spots are so valuable, you need someone that's going to do multiple things. He can play receiver, he can play the slot and outside, and he plays special teams. Or you need a nickel corner that also plays special teams. Or a linebacker. Skip, what the hell a quarterback going to do besides quarterback? He ain't running out on those special teams. Taysom Hill made it, Skip. Yeah, he can do quarterback, but he don't punt return, kick return. He can do other things.
He can.
So you can have him as a third, but that's not his primary job. A quarterback of Colin Kaepernick, to have him as a third is a waste because he can't help you unless the other 2 quarterbacks go down. But you need those spots, Skip, because you know more than times than not, somebody's going to go down, and it's probably not going to be the quarterback. And then what do you do?
So deeper in his remarks, Anthony Lynn said, I want to honor what Colin Kaepernick did, past tense, what he did. Okay, that's fine, but how does that help him present tense? How does that get him a job?
Skip, at the end of the day, you commend him for what he did, but can the man help you win a game?
Well, he did try to disqualify it a little bit by saying, I haven't spoken with Colin, not sure where he's at as far as in his career, what he wants to do. Well, we've made that point. We're not sure either. He has not spoken.
No.
Does he even really want to play? We think so. He told USA Today, Colin did back in February, yes, I want to play. Best shape of my life, working out 5 days a week.
People at USA Today, Skip, like I said, it's good. They're not offering jobs. I see they're cutting reporters and all that stuff. So USA Today is not hiring. At the end of the day, it's going to take a team to get on the phone and call Cap, bring him in, and sit down face-to-face and talk football and talk also what he wants to do outside of this. That's what it's going to take, Skip. So all this going back and forth, well, the workout list or Cap saying he wants to play, these things are going to have to come together into the perfect storm. A team's going to have to reach out. Cap's going to have to be willing to go in, talk to them, and then they're going to have to go from there.
My final thought is, please, America, don't let the NFL get away with something called a workout list to placate all the people who want to get Cap a new shot, a new job shot.
And
that's not enough.
No, it's not enough. And Skip, at the end of the day, I'm like, man, he can't play. Oh, Cap needs a job. Whoa, damn, you've been saying for 3 years he couldn't play. And now all of a sudden, because of this movement, you want to give him a job, even though he can't play.
No mercy. There has been plenty of talk that Dak Prescott could hold out of Cowboys training camp and beyond if they don't agree to a long-term contract extension before the season. But Jay Glazer dismissed the idea, saying, quote, absolutely not. It's not part of their plan. They will get this worked out. Shannon, do you agree?
Skip, I still believe he's going to play under the franchise tag because this makes no sense to me now that you would create this kind of bad blood with Dak Prescott and then all of a sudden cave and give him the money that he's recommended when you could have given them this and kept the bad blood out of the equation. I just don't see it happening, Skip. I really, especially now we don't know the capacity of the stadiums. They say if there are no fans or limited fans, they can lose somewhere between $1 and $3 billion in ticket revenue. That's going to affect the cap moving forward. So they don't know long-term deal projecting out. The cap might come down, and Jerry's like, hold on, that 14% that we don't want to go over might be 18, 19%, Skip. If the cap comes down, we give you the type of money that you're asking for. So, Skip, at this point in time, I just don't see it happening. And plus, Dak says you made no acknowledgement. As a matter of fact, I'm going up on the price. Because you have not acknowledged Black Lives Matter, it's an extra $5 million.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You got that straight from the inner circle.
Yeah, Todd France told me. He said because you, and see, he knows what Jerry's trying to do. Try to like, well, Juneteenth is a holiday. No. Juneteenth happened in 1865. June 19th, 1865. So 155 years, Juneteenth has been celebrated. Not one time have you gave paid vacation, paid time off. Nah, we're going to let you do it now. Cost you extra $5 million, Jerry, you're going to have to go on national TV and say Black Lives Matter. And you're going to have to stand up for us.
That's going to be part of the deal.
Part of the deal.
Okay.
Yep.
I love Jay Glazer. Jay Glazer is really, really good at what he does. He doesn't swing and miss. I can't remember ever swinging and missing. He's not one of those shock jocks who throws it against the wall and hope it sticks.
Right.
I'm sure hoping he knows all the inner workings that are happening right now. I hope he is right on point because my team needs to get this out from under, get this out of this roadblock out of their way. It's a psychological roadblock for the football team because you're going to go in, if he plays under the tag, nobody's going to be completely comfortable with this because it just creates more bad blood. Yeah. It's as if neither party is all the way in, and it's never really worked out for anybody except for Kirk Cousins, but it didn't work out for the Redskins at all. They paid him a ton of money and got little to nothing in return.
And they're still looking for a quarterback.
That is correct.
Well, you got a month, Skip. July 15th is your drop dead date. You got 1 month.
My gut feeling is, and I'm not in the inner circle on this, but I do know Jerry. I've known him for a long time, and it feels like there's too much ice to thaw by July 15th. It feels like the bad blood coagulated. And it started, as Yahoo reported, back in the regular season, when Jerry kept saying, building up to game number 1 against the Giants, we're close, we're close, we're close.
Imminent.
Well, he said that night after the Giants game, big win, big game by Dak, QBR 94, scale 0 to 100, imminent. And somebody asked, what does that mean? What? He said, days. It means within days. So I'm coming in here banging on the countertop, right?
You feeling good. You feeling good.
Like, here it comes. Tomorrow's going to be the big day on Undisputed, or maybe it's the next day. And the days passed and nothing happened because I did not know that they were, again, betting on themselves, Todd France and Dak. So they play another game at arch rival Washington. He has another huge QBR of 94 in that game. And they play a third game against the lowly Dolphins. Shannon Sharpe's telling me it's all garbage, doesn't mean anything, right? They're not playing anybody. And Dak has another pretty big day of QBR 82. So right out of the box, he has an average QBR of 90 in 3 games, which just is running away with the QBR race in the NFL. And what happened? They go back to the negotiating table after 3 games, and Todd France says, Jerry, April Fools, or should I say September Fools, and you're the fool. Because we just changed the price. It just went right through the roof of Jerry World, right? And all of a sudden, Jerry got, according to Yahoo, angry. And I know Jerry, that's one thing. You don't jerk the rug out from under Jerry Jones in a negotiation, especially when he thought it was in good faith, and we are right there. We just got to cross this T and dot that I, and it's bottom line signed by Dak Prescott.
Skip, you know how it works, Skip. You know how retail is. Okay, the blouse or the shirt is $150. Okay, that's what it is today. You might come in tomorrow, it might be $155, $160. You can't get mad at me because you should have bought it yesterday. But you waited till tomorrow and the price went up. So you should have signed Dak when you had the chance. Price gone up.
A funny thing happened to Dak Prescott on the way to the bank. Then he played a 4th game and a 5th game, and he played 13 more games. And over those 13 games, Pro Football Focus ranked him the 15th best quarterback in the NFL because I got to tell you, as big a fan as I am, he wasn't great. And they had the big game of the year up at New England, and he had a QBR of 26. And then they had the make-or-break, sink-or-swim game of the year to end the regular season at Philly, and he wasn't a whole lot better. His shoulder was banged up, but he had a QBR of 38. And he ended up as the starting quarterback 8-8, and he did not make the Pro Bowl. And he missed too many key throws. See Tavon Austin at Philly, 4th quarter, last drive.
What about all them old tight window throws that you keep throwing up in my face? Dak had the 4th highest completion percentage on tight window throws. Dak Prescott throws the most catchable passes in the NFL.
I think you're confusing him with the GOAT.
No, I ain't confusing with nothing. I'm confusing with But hold on. You said Dak after the first 3 games, Dak was the 15th best quarterback. That's what you said, right?
Over the last 13.
Over the last 13 games. So were the other 14, are their contracts up?
Right place, right time.
So Dak Prescott is number 1 then. So it don't matter about them other 14. The number 15, his contract is up. So Jerry Jones, what you going to do?
I believe they're asking for in the 40s,
Should.
$40 million a year,
Yep.
which is way beyond what Russell Wilson makes at the top of the list right now. And I think it's money that even Lee Steinberg and Patrick Mahomes were not thinking about a couple of months ago until this started happening. And then they're saying, here we go. Here we go. Set that bar way up high.
Lee Steinberg and Pat Mahomes talking about $250,000. Yeah, $250,000. That's what they're looking at, a $250,000 ticket.
Okay. They can realistically, credibly talk about it because that guy won an MVP and that guy was the MVP of a Super Bowl winning team. Okay. So I can't take that away. You got me. That is worth a quarter of a bill. Yes, that's a quarter of a billion. It is. It is. I give you that. Dak, for all of my belief in him, he hasn't done that.
No.
He's made 2 Pro Bowls in 4 years and won 2 division championships in 4 years, and he's 1 and 3 in the playoffs.
And Dak says, well, I don't want to do that, and y'all pay me this bump because y'all already got me for 4 years, Skip. Remember? Y'all underpaid me for 4 years. So I don't want to be Super Bowl MVP. I don't want to win league MVP, and then y'all got me strapped into a 6-year deal that you're unwilling to renegotiate.
All right.
So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get fair above market value right now, so I'll be able to sleep with myself when I win y'all this Super Bowl and be an MVP. I'll be able to sleep with myself knowing I'm making $38-39 million as opposed to making a little $35 million. And plus, Russell Wilson deal was 2 years ago. What they got to do with me? I'm talking about right now. Right now, Skip.
Okay.
2 years ago, the climate was different. Look at it right now.
Well, guess what else is happening right now? A thing called the exclusive franchise tag is happening, and it's on him. And Jerry Jones knows that he could pay Dak a grand total of $31.4 million, which is a lot less than $40-odd million, next year and have him. And then he could do it again for a second year at about 30, it's almost $37 million as it stands right now. But that's considerably less than 40-odd million. And you could have 2 years of Dak Prescott under the tag. The third year would get a little pricey because it goes up to 54
Let that sink in for a second, Skip. Kansas City and the Houston Texans are saying, you know what, we want to do these deals. Skip, you do realize that both Deshaun and Mahomes have a 4th year, plus a 5th year option, and a franchise tag. So theoretically, these teams don't have to do anything for 3 years. And they're at the door right now saying, guys, let's sit down and talk. Let's try to get something. Your guy waited till the contract was completely done 4 full years before he did anything. And Dak Prescott said, nah, Jerry, you know, I was going to think about doing a little something, do you a little nice favor. But since you made me go all the way to the end, nah, I ain't going to be able to do it.
So help me out. Is my guy better than Patrick Mahomes? No. Is my guy better than Deshaun Watson?
I've been trying to tell you that for the longest time, but you ain't want to listen to me. But now he want to get his money. Now you want to talk about he like the 15th best quarterback.
I didn't say he's the 50th. I've always said he's the 10th best. I got him barely in the top 10, which is pretty great.
When the other 9's not available. So you got to pay him top dollar.
Okay, because Shannon Sharpe would like my team's salary cap wrecked going forward. And I'm going to remind everybody, because of the pandemic, it certainly looks like the NFL is going to have to play without fans, maybe half full. We don't know for sure. And that could, guess what? That could dramatically reduce the available salary cap money going into the following season. They could reduce it by 50, 60, 70, 80 million dollars.
So let me ask you a question. So if there's no fans in the stand, do you expect Dak to play at the same high level? Okay, then. So you got to pay for that.
Okay. But the point is, if you overpay for that, and I believe they overpaid for Zeke, Jerry did, then all of a sudden, if you overpay for a quarterback, the dollars are so much bigger. It's twice as much as you overpaid for Zeke. Well, then, if the cap plummets next year, you're going to look around and say, what did we do? We're stuck. We're in salary cap hell.
Well, what you can do is that the 4 years that you underpaid Dak, and you like, ooh, Steven, Charlotte, look at all this money we got from not having to play a quarterback top tier money. Now, all that money that you saved, guess what, Skip? You saving for a rainy day. Guess what? It's raining. Dak Prescott said it's raining outside. It ain't 70, it's sunny, Skip, baby. It's a deluge.
So I get amused by hearing all these people, these commentators, columnists, ex-players say, pay him.
Pay the man.
Well, pay him what? Like blank check him? Like just say, here are the keys to the kingdom. Well, I'll give you my checkbook. You just write down however much you want. Okay, Jerry, I'll write $50 million. It's a capped sport. It's a hard salary cap. It's not the NBA's where you can leap through little loopholes left and right and you can get away with, wait a second, how did the Warriors have KD and Steph and Draymond and Clay? How do you have all those on the same? I don't know. They do it with some NBA cap math that I can't even begin to fathom. But in the NFL, it is hard and fast. You can't trick the salary cap. There are little ways to play with it and finesse it, but you're in trouble. If you overpay your quarterback, you are done for 4 or 5 years, which is what you want to happen to my team.
Okay, Skip, I got it worked out for you. This is what we'll do. It's going to cost you an extra $5 million because you didn't say Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
So I was going to do it for 5 years, $175 million.
Yep.
$120 million fully guaranteed. But since now it's 5 years, $180 million, the $5 million for Black Lives Matter. Okay. So that's what we're doing. That's $35 million a year, $120 fully guaranteed. Can we get the deal done, Skip?
Well, that's not that much average annual, right?
It's $35 million.
35? Is that the math on that? Okay. I'd do that right now. I say done. Yep. I'll negotiate for Dak. I'm ready. Give me the paper. I'll sign it right now.
No. That's what it is. So 5 years. So basically, it's 5 years, $180 million. That's what we want, Skip.
Okay. I would fully guarantee that, and I would be happy with that. But I don't want to go up into the 40s because it's outrageously out of bounds. It's too much to pay, even for Dak.
Because, Skip, the thing is, Dak is like, look, Mahomes is in a category by himself. But Dak and Deshaun are kind of waiting to see
Absolutely.
Okay, let's see what Dak does, because that's going to be my starting point, and I'm going to go there. Dak is waiting. Let's see what Deshaun does, because that's kind of where I want to be. I want to be in that ballpark, too.
Yep.
So that's what they're waiting on. Pat Mahomes is the only contract, Skip, that his contract is not based on what anybody done, because he's about to get a contract that nobody's ever gotten.
So did you happen to see the next question that our man Jay Glazer answered in his mailbag in The Athletic?
No, what did he say?
Next question was about, hey, Jay, love your mailbag every week. Wondering who you see as the team that can surpass expectations and surprise some people this year.
What did he say?
Guess which team it was? The Dallas Cowboys. Man. How about them Cowboys? Why? Because he says that Dak's contract situation is overshadowing just how good this team has become. Obviously, Jay is very close to Aldon Smith, and he's very
close to Jerry, too.
I don't know these.
Yeah, he's been on the bus. He's been riding the bus.
Okay, so he rode the bus. I don't know if that qualifies as very close.
You don't get on the bus.
Well, I haven't heard Jay say this in years past. All of a sudden, he's saying, wait a second. He does love Aldon Smith and his potential to be that guy across from DeMarcus Lawrence. And he says he loves their draft. I told you, I love their draft. I love CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is going to make Dak's life so much happier, so much easier. So all of a sudden, I'm seeing Dak rise up to as high as 3rd in MVP odds in one of those.
So what is that worth?
Wow. Why is that?
What is that worth?
Wait. So the same player who going into this past season, the NFL players did not even vote in the top 100 ranking. That's Dak Prescott. He didn't even make the top 100 as voted on by the players.
What is it now?
That was coming off a division championship and a Pro Bowl. Didn't make the top 100. Yeah. So now, I think it was Caesar's Palace says he's 3rd in MVP odds. Why is that? The CD syndrome. They stole CeeDee Lamb with the 17th overall pick. I've been telling you, I first guessed it. I previewed it. I predicted that if he's there, you have to take him. It's going to change life in Dallas, and it's changing Dak's life. Dak, it's time to compromise a little bit. You got to let the ice thaw a little bit by saying, okay, Jerry, I give in. I'll do $36 million. I'll do it for 5 years if you'll guarantee the bulk of it. And I believe Jerry would guarantee the bulk of it. And I'm happy. You're happy. Let's go do this, because this team got way better. When you add Gerald McCoy,
I would say they got way better.
Hey, Dontari Poe and Clinton Dix, and all of a sudden you got veteran, established, these are players you can build around. These are stalwarts, so you can build around on defense. It got shored up.
Stop this. Stop this now. I mean, you named some guys, okay, they were solid players, but they're not the players they were. There were no Aaron Donalds. There were no Khalil Macks on the market. On the market. You know why? Because those teams wanted to keep those players.
Okay, my defense got better.
Okay,
it got better with the draft.
Okay,
you know it, and I know.
We're gonna see. The Eagles still gonna win the division.
So
even though we had a little setback,
all we got to do is get this thing fixed this Dak contract. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm sure Dak's tired of talking about it. So, Dak, you need to just chill, compromise a little bit, take your money,
Jerry,
and let's go.
Tell Jerry to do right by me.
Yeah, okay.
And I think we need to hear him speak.
And throw in $10 million for Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, we do it. That's how we do it. We putting pressure on them. You said the college kids, they putting pressure on these institutions.
I want to see Jerry do PSAs, public service announcements, like 10 of them.
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, but now the Cowboys employees have Juneteenth off. Nah, bro, we ain't let that slide.
Well, now the whole NFL's had. I saw the Washington's doing it. Okay, everybody's doing it.
And the Rams said if you go to a black-owned restaurant, they gonna reimburse your money. If you buy black books, they gonna reimburse your money for black authors.
Okay, good for the Rams.
Hey, that ain't got nothing to do with Dak. Dak says, this is what I want, Skip Bayless. 120 fully guaranteed. And I'm there. Dak just wait. And he said, I want my homeboy Sharpe to get a new car today.
Really?
Yep. Make that happen.
That's your commission off this deal?
What did he say about
I'm
you,
good with
Shannon?
that.
What does he want?
He wanted homeboy to get a new car.
Really?
Oh, is that what it is?
What kind?
Probably that old Rolls truck, that cooling it.
Really? Okay,
I
we'll
feel
do
like
that.
you just
Done.
got a new car. I don't know.
I throw
did
it
it.
in.
Okay, all
I'm
right.
trying to negotiate something, you interfered.
Sorry. Yesterday, Kyler Murray became the latest NFL player to announce his intentions to kneel during the national anthem, saying it's on everyone to educate people on racial injustices. Kyler said, quote, if you're white, and you've got white friends that feel this certain type of way or don't understand what's going on, it's on you to educate them, as well as Black, Hispanic, and any other ethnicity. Shannon, do you like what Kyler had to say here?
I do. I do believe a lot more players will kneel this year because they understand, they believe they'll be protected. They believe that since the groundswell of support for what Colin Kaepernick originally tried to bring attention to in 2016, they believe they have the blessing of the public, and they believe their owners will stand down and not issue punishment. Now, none of them threatened to issue punishment like Jerry Jones. Jerry said you will toe the line, you will put your helmet in your left arm, and you will have your hand over your heart, or you will not be playing for the Dallas Cowboys. Correct. So he was really the only one. Now, I think behind the scenes, they might have said, we would really prefer you not to do that. I think the owner, she's a former Firestone, Miss Ford, she wanted to say that, whatever cause you have, if you just stand, I will donate to your cause. So I think, they tried to dissuade a lot of players from kneeling, Skip. But I believe because of what we've seen over the last 3 weeks, Skip, I believe you're going to see a greater portion of the NFL kneel than stand. But I don't want people to look at the guys of standing as to say they don't care. Because I don't want to pit one side against the other, Skip. And sometimes I get, as I'm lying and I'm at home and I'm thinking, I was like, I hope this is a situation that if a guy doesn't kneel, the media says, okay, why weren't you kneeling? Do you not believe Black Lives Matter? It's not about that. So I'm just going to focus on the guys that are kneeling. But Kyler Murray said, he's motivated by what's in his heart. He understands one thing, Skip. This is what all players, especially black players, know. I will be black a lot longer than I'll play in the NFL. And I'm not going to see, when I got this uniform on, Skip, it can't, people think that money can buy your way out of racism. It can't. 1921 Tulsa told you that, Skip. That was the Black Wall Street. And they burned it to the ground. See, even though they were wealthy, they were prominent, they were influent, they were affluent. It couldn't protect them. That's the one thing that money can't protect you from. You see, they say death and taxes. Well, if you're black in America, there's a certain stigmatism that comes along with that. So I'm glad Kyler said it. And he has, someone said something else, and he had a strong retort on social media. He said, I don't give a, what you think. You're going to see more guys take this stance. And I'm happy. I'm glad that guys are saying, you know what? Enough is enough. And plus, Skip, this is the greatest moment that we've ever had. We've never had a moment like this. Not when Dr. King was assassinated, not when they had the protests, when they marched on Washington. I think that was, 63? We've never had a moment like this. Never. That had it this good right now. And I believe that they're going to seize this opportunity and make the absolute best of it.
So, I've been a Kyler fan since his first couple of games that he started at the University of Oklahoma. I believe then I was watching a very special young man, a small man who played huge, big arm, quick release. But what I kept telling you through that year that he started at OU, he carries himself with such athletic dignity. You could just see him step on the football field, even at whatever he is, 5'10"-ish. And it's just like, I own this field in a good way.
I'm the biggest rooster in the yard.
That's how he did it. And again, he was a high draft pick of the Oakland A's in baseball. I believe he could have been a baseball star as well as a football star. And now he's becoming that special young man off the field as well as on. I thought he had a sensational year for a bad football team last year. Now he has DeAndre Hopkins, and I think it's even empowering him and emboldening him off the field to know that he's got to now take over this team as the leader and become one of the leaders of this league. And he hit the bullseye with one quote that I'm going to read to you because it's what I think we have believed from the start. And the quote is from Kyler, this for a young man to have this kind of mature perspective and insight into what just happened in this country, for him to say, I feel like now more than ever, people can just say what they want to say. Before, what we saw with his death, meaning obviously George Floyd's, I feel like we had to beat around the bush and kind of just straddle the line and say the politically correct thing. Yes, especially as a black quarterback, the face of a franchise, you had to walk the line, right? You had to toe the line. You had to be a little careful with what you said or did not say. All of a sudden, a very special thing happened in this country because of that murder in Minneapolis on Memorial Day. White community sat up and said, what? For the first time, you can list all those names of all those black men and women, unarmed, who got murdered by white cops. You can list them all, and you know them all by heart.
I do.
And we could spend the rest of the show. We might not have enough time for you to go down the whole list. But white America, and I'm stereotyping, sort of generalizing here, but on all those, the Eric Garners and the Michael Brown, we can just go all the way back to Ferguson.
Michael Brown.
Yeah. Look, white America said, oh, that's too bad. Next, you know, what's next? And this one got everybody. This got every human being, not just in this country, but in a whole lot of countries around the world, to stop and say, that's just wrong. We got to stop this. And the first thing I told you after the first protest I watched, just sitting on my couch, was, wait a second. I'm seeing a whole lot of white people out there. Now, they were mostly younger white people, good, but here's a whole upcoming generation saying, hey, this is wrong. We got to go out there and march with them. We got to demonstrate. We got to get arrested with them. We got to say, we are with you. What can we do for you to rectify this wrong, this outrage that's happening to your community repeatedly? It just keeps on. And then it happened again, of course, that Friday night in Atlanta.
I think I read a report, Skip, it's been 120 since police murdering civilians, killing civilians since George Floyd.
So I kept saying, wait a second, white Americans, not just white, but all other races, but let's start with white America. Eyes, ears open, minds maybe as open as they've ever been to this flashpoint moment, this potential watershed moment of we are listening. Tell us. And Kyler's saying, seize the moment.
Absolutely.
I'm so happy that we've gotten to talk about Kellen Mond yesterday at Texas A&M, their black quarterback, saying that statue has to come down.
Raw statue.
And Chuba Hubbard at Oklahoma State. Again, I'm still cringing because I wanted him to, as he said, his foot's still on the gas. I think he took his foot off the gas. But the first salvo was firestorm salvo. That's what he should have said. This is unacceptable. Well, there have been times in even the last few years when something like that would happen and it would come and it would go. And the black players are like, I don't know. I don't like this. I'm going to tell the media I don't like this, but I kind of understand. You know, you have to sort of walk that line. And Kyler's saying, I'm not going to walk it anymore. And he even brought it all the way down to if you have a friend you think is racist, you got to tell him. Well, that's at the lowest level. I'm not sure that's going to change America, but it's a start. Right. It's a start for a black quarterback to say, if you know somebody out there and he's saying things or doing things, or she's saying things, doing things that maybe they don't really understand how offensive it is to you.
Yes.
You need to now, this is the time to tell them because it's become okay to tell them. It's become okay to challenge all the racial symbols and lyrics that got grandfathered into somehow to 2020. Challenge them.
Right.
Use your voice. Now it will be heard. Right. I believe. Now the window's open. Is it going to close back? I don't know. We hope not.
Yeah. Skip, I believe, and I like what he said. He said educating those about, if you know someone, you talk to someone, and hopefully they'll talk to someone. But at the end of the day, if you're the source of the problem, you got to take personal accountability. Because it's so easy for people to scapegoat, well, I didn't know, and nothing, you knew. You know. I mean, whatever happened, treat everybody right. Treat people fairly. Don't judge someone by the color of their skin, but the context of their character. That's what Dr. King said. So whatever happened to that, Skip, I had a good friend of mine. He's a doctor. And he said, Shannon, I find myself sometimes, and I'm in a certain area of town, and I see someone that doesn't look like me, I get a little apprehensive. He says, I just can't help it. He said, but I don't let that fear make me look at them and says, oh, that's automatically a bad person. It's just that it's been in me. I'm 65, 66. He said that's how I grew up. So if he's open and honest enough to tell me that, Skip, and been around him since I've been here, he's the only one, so nobody else feels that way. Of course it does. But it's when you let that implicit he's black, he's got to be up to something. And I'm watching, Skip, I'm watching, like you say, like there are a lot of white that's continuing protest. And this one guy's holding up a sign that said Black Lives Matter. Well, the protesters against him, one of the dudes hit him in the back of the head. The police standing right there. He tell the dude that's holding the Black Lives Matter sign, get out of here. I'm like, wait a minute, dude. You just see the man hit the man. And the little girl, they took her sign, ripped it up. She go home, come back with another sign. I'm like, man, y'all just ridiculous. I mean, y'all are just ridiculous. But Skip, it's hard. This establishment, people don't take change easy.
No.
It's hard to break traditions. And it's hard for people to get out of I kind of like the way things are. I mean, I'm not at the top end, but I kind of like the power structure. I kind of like the view from where I'm sitting. So why would I want to change that? And they don't, and they're going to fight tooth and nail, Skip. It's not going to be easy.
Let us have our Confederate statues and our Confederate flags, and it'll be okay.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want to do, but just let us have these vestiges of racism. Yeah. Right?
Because that's what they is, Skip. I mean, there's no way around it. Oh, but it's heritage. They fought for, no, they didn't. They fought to keep one thing alive.
So one last comment on Mike Gundy. We talked about him for 2 days.
Yes.
He told ESPN they're doing a documentary on Oklahoma State that just happened to be coincidental with this, but they used the quote on ESPN this morning in which he said yesterday, I was just a dumbass about OAN. I just didn't get it. I'm not going to let him off that hook because he got criticized for bringing it up unsolicited in a media call in April. So if you get criticized, don't you, as the head coach at Oklahoma State, don't you look into it? Don't you say, wait a second, what's happening here? Right. And then you wait April, May, June. Oh, and then you wear the T-shirt.
Exactly.
And it gets posted on social media. You're not a dumbass. You knew exactly what I'm sorry, I can't let you get away with just disqualifying yourself. I was just stupid. No.
He's smart enough to know. He kept watching it. He might have stumbled upon it, but he didn't stop watching it, did he, Skip? He made sure I bet he continued to watch it. And then all of a sudden, when he got caught, Skip, and people like, it's just a T-shirt. It goes beyond the T-shirt. There are a lot of things that he's said and done. That's why these players are bringing it to his attention. There's a lot of things. It's just not a singular act. It's acts that's causing his players to look at him with a side eye.
Right. And I appreciated the fact that you reported the story, which obviously got reported in 1989 when he was a quarterback at Oklahoma State, that he did use the N-word.
Yes.
The worst form of the N-word during a game at Colorado.
And there are a lot of players that were on the field at the time that's come forward and says he absolutely did it. And his retort with that was, Skip, is what? What they always say, Skip, I got black friends. Bro,
Okay?
we don't use that
Well, I
one.
was happy that story got traction. And again, I tried to make the point to you. That isn't the reason he should lose his job now.
No.
But it shows you what
He's capable
his history was.
Absolutely
Okay?
correct.
All right. Thank you.
No excuse anymore. And just to wrap up the Kyler Murray angle, I was thinking about the fact that he's 22 years old. We heard from Patrick Mahomes last week. He was going to be more vocal on his platform. These are younger athletes who are now voicing their opinions to that younger generation. And I think that speaks to this conversation that needs to continue. But I think of us as an older generation in a lot of ways. And these are young kids who are seeing these athletes speak up and have a voice. And I hope that that message really just continues from so many different athletes.
No mercy.
LeBron may be an incredible athlete, but 86-year-old Bill Russell wants everyone to know he was a freak of nature himself back in the day. After Kendrick Perkins called LeBron, quote, the most athletic player in NBA history, Russell chimed in, reminding Perk of his athletic qualifications during his prime. After seeing Russell's response, Perk apologized to his pal LeBron and said, okay, all right, fine. Russell actually may be the most athletic player ever. Shannon, what do you make of all this?
Skip, that Mr. Russell hears all and sees all. So he's like, I ain't letting any more of these I'm not letting any these slights pass me by. Skip, I think he has a compelling argument, but I think the better argument is between Wilt and LeBron. Skip, it's just really hard because Russell was 6'10", they said 6'10", 215. LeBron is 6'9", 270.
Yep.
Wilt was 7'1", 275. Now, we don't have LeBron as a college athlete, but we know he played football up until his junior year, and he was all-state in football, had over 1,200 yards receiving, and I think double-digit touchdowns. So it shows that he was athletic, he was versatile. Skip, Wilt ran the 100-yard dash in 10.9. He threw the shot 56 feet. He triple jumped 50 feet, and he won the Big 8 high jump 3 straight years. Russell was an All-American high jumper, Skip. He said he was number 2 in the U.S.,
Yep.
number 7 in the world.
He did.
I just think, Skip, it's just so hard with the advent of technology and training and eating to compare an athlete of Russell time, Skip, to the modern athlete. Now, I'm not saying they weren't athletic, but it's just hard because the guys are so much bigger, so much stronger, so much faster, jump so much higher. And so, you look at guys in the two-sport guys back in the day, and you look at the guys like Bo and Dion. We're like, okay, yeah, they were two-sport, but were they like that? That was a whole different ball game, Skip, because of the advent of training and nutrition. But I think Bill Russell is right. I would say LeBron, I would take me, most athletic, would be LeBron, Wilt, then Russell. But Michael's like, well, what about me? Danny Ainge says, what about me?
Danny Ainge?
What, Skip? I mean,
What are you talking about, Danny Ainge? You just try to disqualify Michael Jordan and say it's between Danny Ainge and Michael Jordan
Skip,
for fifth?
Skip, no, I'm saying Danny Ainge's like, well, I did get drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays. But for me, at 6'9", trimmed down, like 245, 250, and still handle that thing. Now, Russell said, I could bring the ball up the court. You did that on occasion. LeBron does that 90% of the time. So for me, it's old GOAT, James. I think it should be for you too.
What are you talking about? Okay, first of all, I got to address Mr. Russell. We talked about him yesterday because he wrote an opinion piece for the Boston Globe that was just stunning to me. It left me close to speechless. And I said, in conclusion, I wish we'd hear a little more from Mr. Russell.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, we hear from him on Twitter on something that you could argue is beneath his dignity to have to even argue about this. But he wanted to put not just Kendrick in his place. I think he wanted to put LeBron in his place because Kendrick's been out there for years. LeBron's the greatest athlete in the history of the NBA, and he's the greatest player. He's better than Michael Jeffrey Jordan. So to me, Bill Russell said, well, look at this. And he posted that picture of him going over the high jump bar. And it looks pretty good for 6'10", right?
Yep.
And I give you 7'1" Wilt going over the high jump bar. That is pretty impressive to get that kind of lift
With that kind of size.
With what I don't know when he weighed at Kansas, 240 maybe?
He had to at least
right?
at the bare minimum.
Yeah.
They listed him his rookie year at 250.
250 maybe?
250, that's what he said. And he bulked up, say 275, and eventually got to 300.
Okay, but still the high jump at 250.
Yeah.
Not that easy.
We know what high jumpers look like, Skip. They're thin. They barely weigh if they weigh 200 pounds.
And Wilt also ran the 200.
Yeah.
You know, like he could sustain it for distance.
Yeah.
And Bill Russell said, hey, I was known as a sprinter also. And then he put a clip up on Twitter of him running the floor. And it was pretty impressive.
Not like GOAT, but it was impressive. Not like GOAT James.
GOAT?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm getting to my bottom line. It is laughable for you to say that LeBron James is a better athlete than Jordan was.
Yeah.
All I had to do is watch the first episode of The Last Dance. Anybody out there with half of, as Kendrick says, a bird brain, you get to have half a bird brain, and if you watch just the first episode of The Last Dance, it's game over for LeBron.
No, they.
Michael was faster than LeBron.
No.
They said he timed 4.3 in the 40.
No.
Yes, faster.
Can't outrun GOAT.
Okay, GOAT's too big. He carries too much tonnage.
That's why he's most athletic. A man at that size that can move. Skip, you always take a good big man over a good little man. That's how the game goes.
Shannon, Michael Jordan had electric quickness. He had quicker than the eye quickness, where you could just see in the clips on The Last Dance, you'd say, that's just too good. That's like inhuman quickness, where he would just make people look silly. And then he had the kind of quickness that could turn into acrobatic quickness because he could jump out of the gym, as we saw in slam dunk contests. I mean, he was air.
LeBron could have easily won 3 or 4 of those things.
Well, did he try?
No.
Didn't have the guts.
Not beneath us.
Didn't have the guts. Didn't have the guts to go out there by himself and say, what if I get embarrassed? What if I blow this?
We might get in the three-point competition next year and win that in year 18.
Okay, I have a billion cases of Diet Dew on that right now. I will bet you a billion cases of Diet Mountain Dew that LeBron James never wins a three-point contest. I will do it right now.
Hey.
I will take it. I could owe you Diet Dew for as long as we live, or vice versa.
Hey.
Because you know and I know that ain't happening.
It might happen, Skip.
No. So speaking of shooting, Jordan could not only leap, but he could hang and he could change rotation of his body in mid-air and mid-flight the way I've never seen anybody do it. And then shooting is part of athleticism, even though it's a hand-eye skill. So it's
that was LeBron better than.
What? Michael Jordan was the greatest mid-range jump shooter I have ever seen.
But you had to shoot, but you had to lay the ball up. You had to shoot threes too. So if you factor all that in, my guy is better.
Your guy is a way below average three-point shooter, and he is a horrible free throw shooter.
Well, if my guy is below average and his average is higher than your guy, so what does that tell you about your guy shooting threes? If my guy is below average but has a higher percentage from shooting three than your guy.
My guy made 6 threes in game 1 against Portland of the NBA Finals and gave it this. Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
My guys would my guy, what about that skill? You remember the play? The block heard around the world. The greatest block in NBA history.
What block?
You know, Iggy.
Wait, hold on. You mean the bicycle built for 2?
Iggy still don't know where it came from.
J.R. Smith undercut him, ran underneath him, and made Iggy slow down and stop and then try to lay it off the backboard.
You do realize...
He didn't even try to dunk it.
The ball got stolen. LeBron was on the other side of the court. Iggy just knew he had a layup. He said it, Skip. I still don't know where he came from.
Without J.R. Smith, Iggy just dunks it, and we're not even talking about it. It would have become a footnote in history. He would have dunked it, but J.R. undercut him and made him pause in mid-dribble.
Skip,
made him pause.
This athleticism I'm talking about. 8 steps. 94 feet in 8 steps.
And then he's so off-kilter, he's so out of sync, Iggy is, that he has no choice but to try to lay it awkwardly up off the glass. What do you think's going to happen? That's a dunk play. If without J.R. Smith, he just goes up and dunks it, and the best LeBron could have hoped for would have been to foul him.
He done blocked so many dunks. Ask Tiago split up by trying to dunk on GOAT.
You're going to take credit for blocking a guy I could out-jump?
Jason
Seriously.
Richardson. Remember Jason Richardson tried to dunk on and try to do a 360 on LeBron. LeBron said, are you high?
Michael Jordan was Defensive Player of the Year. Has LeBron ever
We got
been that?
robbed.
Oh,
We got
really?
robbed by a guy that wasn't even first team all defense. You know it, Skip. You know Marc Gasol stole that trophy.
Really?
He should have took it.
I don't remember LeBron even being in the race for that.
He finished second.
Interesting. Michael finished first team all defense 9 times.
We got 6 of those.
Oh, but you've played a lot longer than Michael has.
Exactly. And how many first team all NBAs? We got as many first team all NBAs as Michael Jordan played in the NBA.
You ever heard anybody who made 9 first team all NBAs?
Kobe.
And wait a second, and won 10 scoring titles?
Kobe.
10 scoring
Kobe.
titles? No, Kobe.
Kobe.
No, Kobe.
Kobe won
no,
9
he did
times.
Not. Nope, sorry.
Well, he was a defensive first team all defender. 9 times. And he played with Shaq. Jordan wasn't going to be lead the league in scoring if he played with Shaq.
Shannon, in The Last Dance, we saw Jordan make moves that you would just say, that's it. That's just too much. That's the GOAT. That's the greatest athlete. We've never seen anything like him. Power, strength, explosion.
Wait till 5 Horsemen Entertainment put that documentary out. Yeah, we got one coming.
Horseman?
Yeah.
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 Well, what's Kendrick?
The LeBron
Kendrick must be the 6th.
The LeBron James story, how I became the GOAT. That's
Really?
the title. Yep.
Is that right? Well, that's his opinion, and nobody else shares.
Oh, there's no Skip. It's good, Skip.
They came out of the woodwork during The Last Dance. Everybody who ever played against Jordan said, well, obviously he's the GOAT.
They played against Jordan, but they ain't play against GOAT. When we saw said and done, we 6 for 6. We're probably about 6 MVPs. That was Skip. I already know what's happening. I already know.
Even Mike Malone, who now coaches in Denver, was an assistant coach for LeBron in Cleveland, and he just said, what are we talking about? Jordan's the GOAT.
Mike Malone, Karl Malone, I don't care. Jeff
Really?
Malone.
They all said it.
No,
they all
they-
said Jordan's the GOAT. Shannon, I thought we put that to bed.
Look at this, Skip. Look at that. Look at him. Look at Mr. Russell. Look at them shoulders and look at GOAT.
Okay.
Look
I'll
at
give you
that.
Yeah. LeBron's like a benign bully. He doesn't really have any killer will.
He got it.
He doesn't have it in him.
I keep telling you, Skip.
He's a lover, not a fighter.
John Wick.
He looks like a bully, but he doesn't play like a bully.
How many John Wick films they made?
3.
They got 3, right? How many Bond films? They still making them. They got different entertainers. See, that's us. Hey, we gonna continue this thing, Skip Bayless. We still get the bad guy. We get the bad guy at the end. Yo, shoot up and mess up everything. I got on my Brioni suit. My bow tie. Don't not a hair out of place. That's how look at there. Look at there. Beard, groove. Wait till we go down to Orlando in that bubble.
Really?
We got something for y'all. We've been sitting on this thing. This thing about to erupt.
Is that the same guy who in the 2011 finals just melted down?
Man, you going back a decade?
Well, is that guy? That never happened to Jordan. Not one time.
Was that guy at 85 and 86 that got swept in the first round?
Yeah. He had nobody on his team.
Oh, they got whoa.
And they called him God disguised as Michael Jordan, the Celtics.
And he got swept. And LeBron James don't know what it feels like to get swept in the first round.
That guy's owner, when he was in Cleveland the first time around, accused him of quitting against the Celtics in a playoff series.
And he went, they begged him back. He begged the quitter back. Why'd he do that?
Quitting, really? That guy's team in 2014, he was the best player on a team that got blown off the floor in the finals by my Spurs
Got a better
by
team.
a record
They
finals
got beat
margin.
by Skip. The one thing that we do know is that the best team will win a series because it's not one game. It is a series of games.
Really?
So what was Kawhi? So was Kawhi any good? Is he going to the Hall of Fame? What about Tim Duncan? He's just the greatest power forward to ever live. And let's see, it's Tony Parker and Manu going to the Hall of Fame with a Hall of Fame coach.
Well, wait. I thought you told me he's the GOAT.
Yeah.
That was GOAT in his prime. That wasn't baby LeBron.
So why didn't Jordan do that to Larry Bird? And
Once Jordan broke through, he went 6-0 with 6 MVPs.
He broke through when Kevin McCaffrey broke his ankle and Larry Bird broke his back. That's when he broke through.
In the end, he carried a bunch of pretty average players.
Scotty wasn't average. Scotty top 50. Dennis Rodman top 50.
He wasn't.
Phil Jackson top 2 or 3 coach.
Yeah.
When LeBron James gonna get in one of them?
I think he had one in Ty Lue. He needs him back.
Top 3?
Yeah.
Ty Lue a damn good coach, but top 3?
Yeah, I would say so.
Top 3 all time.
No, he's up in the top. I think he's top 5 all time, Ty Lue.
Skip Bayless, if you don't stop playing with me.
Yeah.
So he gonna move past Steve Kerr.
Yeah, I love Ty Lue. I think he does too. And you're going to miss him this year. He's on the wrong team. He's on the wrong side, right? He's on Doc's side.
Who?
Ty Lue.
Oh, you gonna miss him? Yeah, we miss him. I mean, he gonna get a job. He gonna get. You don't want that Knicks job because you don't want to work for Dolan. He gonna get that Brooklyn job. Yep.
Ooh, here comes Kevin and
I like
Kyrie.
that. But we gonna win the title this year. We get all the jobs we want. We win the title.
I feel like we hit all angles on this one. I think we got it all.
No mercy.
This weekend, NASCAR returns to Talladega. First on Saturday, it's Xfinity Series racing at 5:30 Eastern on FS1. Then Sunday on Fox, catch the Geico 500 at 3 Eastern. Both races are also on the Fox Sports app. During an appearance on Take It There with Taylor Brooks, Lamar Jackson was asked who he'd rather have on his team between Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, and Ezekiel Elliott. Well, Jackson gave the nod to McCaffrey, who, according to Fox Bet, is projected to total nearly 2,200 yards from scrimmage this season. Shannon, are you surprised by Lamar's?
Nope. My nephew.
That's your guy.
You know why, Skip Bayless? He's more versatile than Zeke, and he's more durable than Saquon. And that's what you love. You love a guy that can do it all. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He had double the amount of catches of Saquon and Zeke. You don't find guys that can do that. He's has a very unique skill set. He runs the ball better between the tackles than most people ever thought he would because of his size. He's probably 2'5", maybe start the season he's 210, but he's compact. He's put together. He's solidly built. So for me, Skip, I'm gonna take C-Mac. I'm gonna take him because I love his durability. I love his versatility, and I think his versatility is comparable to Saquon. Saquon's versatility is comparable to his, but he's more durable than Saquon, and he's more versatile than Zeke. So I would take that over those two guys.
I thought you liked Saquon.
I love Saquon. I love Saquon.
I thought you said he was the best running back.
He's the best running back in the NFC East. Yeah, that's for
that's
sure.
how you're going to disqualify.
That's for sure.
Okay. So I want to comment on the fact that Lamar even commented on this.
Yeah.
I was very surprised. It's a slippery slope when you're a franchise quarterback, when you're viewed by many people as you're becoming maybe the best quarterback in this league, because it's now becoming a big
Well, Skip, you see how they did
debate.
it earlier because they asked him earlier, it was Barry Sanders and Bo Jackson. So he went old school guys. And then it's like, okay, let's bring it more modern. Let's talk about current guys. And you're absolutely right. Guys normally shy away. Well, if you had a choice, would you like to throw to Randy Moss, T.O., or Marvin Harrison? Peyton Manning, Tom Brady would have never touched that question.
never touch it. Because in the end, you can't win it.
Nope.
And I don't want to get too deep in this, but in this flashpoint moment that our country is in right now, for a black quarterback to pick the white running back, I'm sure some black people are going to say, how can you do that to us? Now, like right now, it's not the right time. So you can't win that, even though you can make your case that he is the best. And I love for people to have opinions. I don't want to be a hypocrite. I got opinions. You got opinions. That's what we do for a living. But we're not the franchise quarterback.
Right.
And this is a tricky time for Lamar. And we talked yesterday, we showed the video of him running on the beach, and you were just horrified by it. Like, what are you thinking? And he's had a couple of other missteps in the offseason. He said that Tennessee, we just underestimated. No, you didn't underestimate.
What was that, Skip? Was that his first offseason? He was driving over 100 miles an hour, and he showed it on the...
Oh, yeah, he showed it.
Yeah.
He posted it.
Yeah.
Oh, aha. Way to go. Good point. He still hasn't quite grown up off the field to match his maturity on the field because he's high IQ on the field. He doesn't make a bad choice. I watch game after game when every passing choice he made or run pass choice was just right. He just was natural. He just had it. He saw it before it happened. The anticipation was supreme. Off the field, not yet, because it's happening so fast. He hasn't been able to sort of catch up with his success on the field.
Right.
Well, you got to live and you got to learn that you probably don't need to answer that question.
Yeah, you don't touch that one.
Okay. And then he was asked about how will defenses try to stop you next year, and he said they can't. Well, again, love the confidence, love the bravado of it, but you know and I know this league will get you back for that. It will figure you out, and it will catch up, and it will put you back in, quote unquote, in your place. You know, like we won't let you do that to us anymore, right?
Yep.
So he's got to be careful with how he handles these things because I don't think he's handled enough of these things to know yet.
Right.
And he is on the cover of Madden this year, which is great. But in the end, what do we know about Lamar? What are the money games? He's played 2 big money games, both playoff games at home.
Right.
And guess what? He stunk in both of them.
Yep.
He did. He stunk it up in both of them. He was the MVP, and it was runaway unanimous. Nobody had any quibble with that.
Right.
But, yeah, man, it's hard to sell what he did in those 2 playoff games against Tennessee and against the Chargers.
I think he'll learn as it goes along. Some things you just don't touch, and you give the PC. I love them all. I would love to play with all. I love to hand the ball or throw the ball to all of those guys, and that's what the guys do.
Yep.
Skip, if you look at Wade Phillips, he's coached some of the greatest defensive players of all time. He was Reggie's defensive coordinator, Bruce Smith, Von Miller, DeMarcus Ware, J.J. Watt, and he always said they compare favorably to each other.
Yeah.
He's not, he don't put one in front of the other, although, like I'm saying, he's Ricky Jackson. So, and I think for a quarterback that's currently playing, now once the guy retires, okay, fine. But when you just have to be careful, Skip, when you're playing, because people are like, oh, you choosing sides. And like I said, you're right. He's entitled to his opinion. But as he grows, he's going to understand that everything doesn't deserve a this or that response. Sometimes you have to give him cliches or coach's spiel or however you want to define it. Sometimes that's what you do. And whatever you do, stop playing on the beach. And Skip, I get it. He's young, he's 23. He has an opportunity to do what we call and what we've been trying to, and you hear a lot of people talk about it, Skip, generational wealth.
Yep.
This is not the NFL is not a $15 an hour job. This is not $40,000. You got an opportunity to secure generations
of your family.
Of your family.
Yes.
And you're willing to take a risk, say, well, I want to have fun on the beach. Really?
One false step.
No way.
And all that wealth.
And everybody that says let the man live would never do that in that same situation. As Ben Roethlisberger by getting on that motorcycle. It like to cost him everything.
Yep.
Bet he ain't been back on one.
Ask Robert Griffin III what happened his rookie year down the stretch. He had a crazy run that he tried to make with no slide and got helicoptered. I think it was at Cleveland.
No, it was at Washington.
At Washington, I'm sorry. Yeah. And that started it, and then Seattle finished it in the playoff game at home, and RG3's up 14-0, and you know the rest of the story. And his knee was so wrecked, it took so long for him to try to come back from it. He lost his confidence, and then he just lost his way.
Right.
And he's never been the same.
Skip, and like I said, freak accidents happen.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to get a freak accident, it's going to be on the freak accident on the football field.
Okay, I give you
It ain't going to be on the beach.
Yep.
That's not happening. I'm not willing to risk $150, $180 million that I can set my kids up for down the line, and they can hopefully expand on that, and they can start an empire. I'm not willing to risk that up. I'm not willing to risk that to have some fun on the beach with some freaks. I'll walk on the beach, do some other things, but that's neither here nor there. But I'm not doing that. I'm not risking that, Skip. No.
So I hope he continues to grow. I'm a big fan, but you know what the narrative is going to be all next year as it builds toward the playoffs, and I think they're going to be really good. It's going to be right there between them and Kansas City as the sort of favorites to win it all, and I'm sure they're going to pile up regular season wins, and the whole narrative all year will be, well, let's see what he can do in his third home playoff
Well, that's
game.
because, Skip, after you win the regular season MVP, now, okay, we know you're good. Because the same thing with Peyton Manning, he had a bunch of regular season MVPs with no playoff success. Ultimately, that's how you're defined, is getting there. And he's young. It took Peyton a long time to get his first playoff win and to win consistently in the playoffs. So he's young, but ultimately, that's how he's going to be judged. Now, my homeboy got a head start. He got them playoff wins early, kind of like Brady, Skip. Brady wasn't the player as far as, he had a great team around him. He wasn't the player, but then all of a sudden, like, hold on, wait a minute. He had more Super Bowl MVPs than he had regular season MVPs, Skip, which is unheard of.
Yep, but he's the GOAT.
Whoa. Pat Mahomes
Still the GOAT.
Pat Mahomes said, give me a couple of years, we'll have this discussion.
Really? Yeah. Well, I think Tom Brady's saying, give me a couple of years with some real weapons in Tampa, and we'll have a whole new discussion.
Joe Montana said, how do I get left out of discussion?
Well,
You know, I'm 4-0. Ain't nobody ever beat Joe in the Super Bowl. You know that?
Well, Tom Brady should have 8 Super Bowl rings.
Well, actually, he could easily be 2-6 too. If Pete Carroll didn't try to be a hero, yeah, what about that one? And Adam Vinatieri wasn't the most clutch kicker in NFL.
No mercy.
Kyrie Irving has been vocal against the NBA restarting and rallying players to voice concerns. And a report this week said Kyrie even proposed the players start their own league rather than play for NBA owners. Kyrie reportedly left the Nets group chat after that came out, and now new reports say Kyrie, quote, feels attacked and scapegoated. So, Shannon, do you have any sympathy for him?
Not really. I believe the conversation should have stayed private, but he did say those things. And my thing is, Skip, how long has he been thinking that blacks should form their own league? Was this in the last 3 weeks, or this is something over the last 3 years? You see how haphazardly something is rushed together. Now, we've seen other teams try to go up against professional teams that's been established, and we see how that ends. So it's hard for me to see a scenario where a guy is making $30 million in the NBA, says, you know what, I want my own league, and for the first 5-6 years, I'm willing to make $200,000 a year. Yep. I don't see that happening. But good luck with that. I think the thing is, and it also goes to show the leadership style of Kyrie, Skip, that people would leak that. I don't know what it is, but the facts are what they are.
Yep.
The Boston Celtics played better once Kyrie got hurt than when he was on the roster. The Boston Celtics played better once Kyrie Irving left than they did when he was on the team.
Yep.
The New York Knicks, the Nets played, the Brooklyn Nets played better once Kyrie injury. That's facts, Skip. I don't really know anywhere else around that. People automatically assume, Skip, if you're a great player, that makes you a great leader. And that is the furthest thing from the truth.
Agreed.
Some of the best leaders are not the best players. Now, you would like that to happen. You would like for your best player to be one of your leaders. But that's not always the case. So, for me, I don't believe the information should have been leaked. Don't leak the information. If you think it, just tell him. Kyrie, man, look, I understand that Black Lives Matter. I think this situation is very important for all of us. And it seems to have impacted you like it has a lot of us. But let's stick to the issue at hand. Now is not the time to be thinking about forming your own league.
Yep.
Now is about time, okay, how can we maximize the pressure on the NBA, play while asking the NBA to invest in our community, to ask their sponsors and us to invest in the communities to end what we see as systemic and institutional racism. How do we do that? That's what let's not focus on starting a league. Because, Skip, remember, too many things, just the Christmas list. A child, I want Santa to bring me 50 things. And the parents say, well, wait a minute. What are the 3 or 4 most important things that you want? And let's go from there.
So I want to state up front, I have still huge respect for Kyrie's brain power and his clutch scoring power. He's a gifted young man, both physically and mentally. But to your point, he was not born with that leadership gene that some people have and some don't. He does not have it. And I was with him. I told you my heart's with him because I liked the direction he was headed. He tried to take over the reins of this new coalition. Black Lives Matter right now more than going to Orlando and trying to win a sprint to the finish NBA championship. Let's not do it. Obviously, he looked a little hypocritical because, wait a second, you're not going anyway.
Right.
You're already out.
Right.
You're coming off surgery, and your best friend and your co-star is clearly out coming off Achilles surgery, talking about Kevin Durant.
It's like, Skip, let's don't eat at that restaurant. Well, you don't like anything on the menu. So I like what's on the menu. So why? Because you don't.
Okay. And I believe he was trying to challenge LeBron's authority in his preeminent position in this league, regarded as the #1 activist in all of sports. And Kyrie said, watch what I can activate here.
Right.
But he didn't have a plan that he could articulate. And all of a sudden, the quietest Laker comes out of left field, and all of a sudden, Avery Bradley takes over as the voice of the coalition, and he starts making sense to me.
Right.
He was eloquent. He listed
what he would like to see happen.
I want to see the NBA do more business with black vendors. Yeah. I want to see the NBA hire more black men in charge of decision-making, GMs with real power. There are only 4 right now. Okay? At least that's tangible. You thought it through. You're not saying, let's go start another league, which is it's just unrealistic because it's just too complicated. Kyrie has no idea what he's really talking about there. And it's like you're just spilling out your raw anger. That's unhinged and it's directionless. Right? It's goalless. And it made Kyrie look pretty bad. And then Kendrick Perkins piled on. I think it's almost like LeBron had commissioned him to. That's my 2 cents on this, but it made Kyrie look even worse because Kendrick just condemned him as a bird brain who has become a distraction from for the whole league. Because obviously a majority player, they already voted unanimously. Every player rep had already voted, we're going to the bubble in Orlando.
And Kyrie's on there as a player rep, Skip.
He's the vice president. Yeah. Okay.
He's the vice president of one organization, but he's thinking about forming another organization against the organization.
That's what he was doing, what he was trying to do. And yet, I gained far more respect for Avery Bradley, whom I never focused on. He's averaged 12 points a game in his career. He's a really good high school. He's the Gatorade National Player of the Year at that Finley Prep in Las Vegas. Then he went to Texas, and he's been pretty good. He's made a couple of all-defensive teams, but doesn't say a whole lot until now, and he's saying a whole lot. And I love what he's saying, and I respect what he's saying, but the point is, Kyrie has lost too much credibility already. You made the points about, okay, left LeBron, and I applauded that. And he, through a source close to him, I told you, he thought LeBron was too stat conscious at the sacrifice of winning. You know, like it was more about stat stuffing than winning championships for LeBron when Kyrie was the co-star. So he says, okay, I want my own team. I'm going to the Celtics, and you know the rest of the story. He quickly alienated not just 1 or 2, he alienated the entire team. And then he goes to New Jersey, and he starts right in again, and he starts throwing them under the bus. They're not good enough. We need more help. Okay, so you're doing it twice, and now we look back at your history and you said the earth is flat, and you said you believe in UFOs, you believe in the Illuminati, and you believe in conspiracy theories concerning the assassination of JFK and the attempted assassination of Bob Marley. Well, after a while, it's like, Kyrie, you're just too out there, man. You're a little wacky. Right? And it sounds like you're being wacky again, so you get dismissed. Because of your track record, you got dismissed. You haven't built up equity of credibility.
And they leaked this look how ridiculous he sounds. That's why they leaked this. If this was a prudent, a plan of what he actually wanted, they would have leaked that, Skip. I mean, if he was talking like Avery, says, I want them to go, and the Commissioner Goodell, and I want some of these prominent owners to go with us to Congress. And these are things that we want. I want them to invest in our communities. I want, like Avery Bradley says, I want at least 20% of the vendors in these arenas to be black. Okay, if he said that, they're not leaking that. But when you said, let's form our own league to compete against, they're like, nah, bro, you missed me with that one. I'm not finna give up $40 million. And then how long? So how long do they think they can get a league running? How long is it going to take them to get a league up and running?
It is.
And where they going to play?
It's just too complicated.
So you think these owners are going to let you use their arena to compete against them, Skip?
Unless you sort of go with that big 3 concept of barnstorming, you know, like just take your stars and you go play each other at arenas around the country. Well, you don't have a championship, really. You don't have records.
Steph Curry makes $40 million. James Harden makes $38. LeBron makes $37 million. You think they're going to give that up to go on a tour? A Harlem Globetrotter-like tour?
And do you want the headaches of buying insurance and hiring and firing employees? Have to put these... No, you don't.
No, that sounds, Skip, that's what people happens. People get upset. Well, I'll just start my own thing. It's not as easy. If it was just so easy to start a business, they'd be like... And that's why so many fail, because they don't really think this thing through.
I agree.
Starting and continuing a business is not easy. Especially something of that magnitude.
So I do not believe that Kyrie got scapegoated. I just think he got scoffed at and dismissed. Right? I mean, it's not scapegoating. No. It's It's on you. No, you're just
But
like,
you did say that,
like,
though.
get out of my face.
You did say that, though.
Right. Well, okay. So I'm afraid this ship has sailed right past Kyrie.
Yeah, fortunately, I believe you're right, Skip.
No mercy.
In a Twitter poll yesterday, the Panthers asked fans to choose the franchise GOAT, listing only Luke Kuechly, Julius Peppers, and Steve Smith. A glaring omission from that poll is Cam Newton, the franchise's all-time passing leader. In 2015, NFL MVP led Carolina to their second Super Bowl appearance. So, Shannon, how do you explain Cam being left off this list?
There's no explanation needed. It's bull jive. This is more egregious, Skip. You remember the Giants had a poll? Who was their best receiver of all time? And they left Odell off?
It's the same idea.
Thank you.
Yep.
Skip, I get it. You know, if you think this person, you retweet this, you like that and all. Skip, Cam has to be there. He's your only MVP. He's the only guy that's led your team to the Super Bowl.
That is correct.
And for you not to have him on there, this is pettiness at its highest proportion. I get it. He's moved on. Y'all guys want to move on. But you can't erase what the man has done. All these guys were great. Kuechly is great, all-American kid. Pep is from North Carolina. Two-sport guy at the University of North Carolina. Smitty, I know Smitty very well. Great receiver.
He was great. Big fan.
But
you know what? You got to put Cam in place of Steve Smith.
Yeah, he got to be on the Skip. Why not have four guys? Let the people choose. If you put it to a fan vote and says, okay, who's the GOAT? And if 10% say Cam and 50% say Kuechly or whatever, you can live with that. But just to omit the guy, really?
I think on Twitter, you're stuck with only three.
Yeah,
right?
because you could like, retweet, or whatever the other thing is.
Right.
But come on, Skip. You don't have to do it like that. You can just put it to a vote.
Would you have put him in place of Smitty?
He's their GOAT. The quarterback.
Well, he has to go. Somebody has to go out. Who would you replace? Julius Peppers, in his heyday, was a game wrecker and changer to me.
How many Super Bowls did he take him to?
Yeah.
Cam is the GOAT.
There's only one.
Cam.
Okay.
League MVP is the highest honor. It's higher than Defensive Player of the Year. Cam was a Rookie of the Year also. All these guys, with the exception of Smitty, was a Rookie of the Year. Cam was also a Rookie of the Year. But Cam has had to receive the highest award.
He did.
Which was MVP. And he's taking a team to the Super Bowl. So for me, he has to be it.
Okay. So you're not going to take a stand on who you would replace?
Nah, Cam got to be Cam number one. You can replace all of them. I don't care who you take out. Cam is number one in my book.
So your GOAT poll would just feature one guy?
No,
right?
Skip. I believe you should put it to let the fans. Okay, here are your four candidates. Who you like, and let the fans choose, Skip. But not to even have them to have a choice. They didn't even get a choice to like or retweet or whatever however they wanted to do it. Skip. They didn't even give them a choice.
So here's the bottom line and the takeaway. Something is up here. There's some bad blood going on here.
Yeah.
They're trying to erase the memory of Cam Newton, out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
He's not with us. He's against us. I don't know what happened, but something was going wrong there.
Right.
And remember, the GM who drafted him, Marty Herney, is still there.
Right.
He had a hiatus in there for Gettleman for a while, but he's still in power.
Right.
So something happened where he got alienated, and surely this crossed his desk where he had to sign off on, let's not even give them the choice of Cam.
Right.
We don't want to fan the flames anymore, right? Let's move on. Let's move away from Cam Newton.
Right.
So let's look at the scope of Cam's career, because your point is the most valid point. It doesn't really matter about the whole career, because it only matters he won the MVP and got them to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay, he did not play well in that Super Bowl because they could not protect him.
Correct.
And he went down 6 times, thanks mostly to Von Miller. And he lost 2 fumbles and he threw an interception. And it was a long, hard day.
It was.
But I want to remind everybody, even though he had a QBR of 32 in that game, which is not very good, Peyton Manning was horrendous in that game and had a QBR of 9. 9? And they won the game 24-10.
I was at the game. It was pretty hard to watch.
It was hard to watch, but it was all defense all the time.
All defense.
Right?
Yep.
C.J. Anderson ran the ball. I think he had 90-some yards. So, okay, that worked, but Peyton was horrible, and Peyton benefited greatly from Von Miller, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we know Cam had a long day. Some people didn't like the way he handled it after the game. I defended him on that. I didn't care. You know, it's like he was a bad loser, but show me a good loser. I don't know. I don't think anybody should be a good loser. But let's look at the scope of Cam's career, shall we?
Yes.
In my career, I have never seen a start like this start to this career. He goes to Arizona and throws for 422. And I thought, this is like the second coming. We've never seen anything like this before. Then he goes home and faces Aaron Rodgers and throws for 432. What? and then skip one more game to a game at Chicago. He throws for 374. Would you believe those are the 3 highest passing games of his whole career?
Yeah, he's never had another 400-yard game. After
never had another 400. He's had some 300s, but he hasn't had one higher than 374. That came in 4 games. His 3 highest passing totals as a raw rookie came in his first 4 games in the NFL.
Right.
That's impossibly great. And it was so great, he couldn't live up to it. And then people kept saying, okay, so give me another 400.
I think the thing what really hurt Cam also, Skip, is that because Smitty was such a strong voice, Steve Smith Sr. was such a strong voice, and they wanted Cam to be the leader of the locker room, they removed him. But they took his best weapon away from him. Smitty was still, and remember, Skip, when he went to Baltimore, he still played exceptionally for 2-3 years.
He did. Love him.
And they removed that from Cam because they wanted Cam to be the front and center. But I agree with you, Skip. There's some bad blood that seemed to have happened. But you remember, Steve Smith left with bad blood. He and Marty Hurney, like, y'all didn't even give me the courtesy to tell me that, you were going to move on without me. So, but I think they reconciled somewhat. I meant to call Smitty and ask him about that. But, Skip, for them not to have, I'll give you an example, Skip. That would be how they going to have, like, there's probably some bad blood, but you can't have a poll if Tom Brady's not on it. Talking about Patriots. You can't have a poll if Peyton Manning's not on it in Indy. You can't. You can't let the bad blood and how it ended ruin the great years that was there. Tom had 20 great years. How it ended, okay, you didn't want it to end like that, but it did. So you're going to race 20 years. Peyton Manning had, 13, 14 years, and you're going to let it... Now, come on. The man had 9 years. All of them wasn't great, but come on now.
I get it. He wasn't a naturally gifted leader. I think Cam's more of a solo act, although he leads by deed. He leads by running over linebackers.
Correct.
That team would follow him. And they did go 15-1 that year.
Correct.
Okay. And then we had the incident, I'm going to remind everybody, where he made the reference to the female reporter. He thought it was funny. She was asking him about routes, and it was just like a bad look. And he lost his Dannon commercial endorsement over that. Something was going a little south where they were parting ways. And once they released him, then they want to release him from memory. It's like Odell. It's the same thing. Well, let's act like he never existed.
And remember, Skip, what he did? I mean, he had an accident. Somebody T-boned him.
They did.
He turned his truck over. Missed that week. The next week, he out there playing. He playing injured. He playing with the shoulders, doing it all. And now this is what you get.
Well, as we keep talking about, he died for their cause.
Yes. This is what he gets.
No mercy. Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry are both passionate competitors who want to help the Browns win, but also want the ball to come their way on a regular basis. When receivers coach Chad O'Shea was asked about keeping them happy, he said they'll, quote, put the team and winning first. They realize that. They embrace that. So, Shannon, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much are you buying this?
I ain't buying it. Hold on. Didn't Freddie K say that last year, Skip?
Yep.
We're going to keep them all happy. We're going to get the ball in everybody's hands.
He said that.
Skip, that sounds good. But Odell is looking to have a bounce-back season. Remember, Skip, this was his worst season since his rookie year when he played a full season. So Odell is not looking to and he's like, oh, the guy's going to put winning. Let me tell you what receivers like. Winning numbers. That's the winning they want, Skip Bayless. So Odell has been, people talking about Mike Thomas and D. Hopkins and Julio. They're not mentioning Odell anymore. Odell wants to get back in that conversation. Now, that sounds good in theory, O'Shea, but I'm going to have to see that before I believe that.
So, scale of 1 to 10, you're at about a 0?
I'm at about a 1.6.
Are you? I'm about a 0.000 because I laughed out loud at this, and I must admit, silly me, I'd never heard of Chad O'Shea, and then I looked him up. Would you believe for 10 years, he was Belichick's receivers coach? You want to talk about anonymous?
Wow.
I never heard a peep from him. and he went to Miami. I didn't even know this. He was the coordinator for the Dolphins last year, one year, and he got fired and bounced back to Cleveland. And now they got a new coaching staff, obviously, Kevin Stefanski, and he is the receivers coach. So he does an interview yesterday in which he says, it'll be just fine because we'll all embrace winning. We'll all... What?
Yeah, Skip, he was the offensive coordinator at Miami.
Yep.
That Flores fired him because they said the system, you didn't have Tom Brady running this. Right. You tried to run New England's offense with Tom Brady and those veteran receivers.
Yep.
You need to dumb it down and make it simplified for our guys.
Correct. Although at the end of the year, they had a couple of big wins.
They had a couple
I was
big
a little
wins.
surprised, but he was with Brian Flores all those years.
Right.
And
Skip, I said, Odell wants to have a bounce-back season.
Yep.
And winning is not going to change people's thoughts of Odell. Odell know he needs to get numbers.
Everyone's going to be happy.
So I hope so.
No worries. That is it for Undisputed, guys. Thank you for watching. We'll be back Friday, same time, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Have a good day.